Titankar Patnaik, Director and Strategist with Religare Capital Markets. Titankar, good morning. Thank you for joining us. I guess my introduction was the question in itself. Is it time to revisit quality and avoid momentum?
There was no time to get away from quality, Nikunj. So, momentum is good. Momentum is good for trading, and we've been positive on private banks from that perspective and select capital goods names. But there is no getting away from quality. We believe that with macro headwinds being where they are, the pre-election rally should have been participated through momentum plays. But one must not forget what sector tilt that one is likely to keep in a place where macro headwinds are likely to remain for quite some time. So we remain, overweight on IT and pharma. We have pretty much no exposure in terms of sectoral tilts in PSU banks. So there you have it. Momentum is good, but quality remains supreme.
Titankar, let's talk about IT. Now, yesterday, Infosys from the day's high reversed by about 4%. TCS, however, reversed, but it went up by more than 4% from the day's low. Infosys closed at the day's low, TCS closed at the day's high. What's the underlying logic here? Do markets expect that TCS will come out with superior Q4 numbers?
Well, after Infi's results, I guess the key takeaway that our analyst said he got from clients essentially was that they were glad that there were no negative surprises. So to that extent, people were comfortable with Infi. And that essentially also raised the bar for the other large cap stocks. Amongst the four large caps that we track, Infi's numbers were supposed to be the weakest, and TCS was supposed to be the highest. So Infi, we were expecting numbers to be about slightly on the negative side, margins to be flat, and from that viewpoint, Infi did really outperform. Guidance, we were expecting about 7 to 9%, and which was the key. And while management did cite margin concerns going forward, they have kept the overall guidance at between 7 to 9%. We saw that yesterday. On TCS, however, our numbers are about 3.2%, and after Infi's numbers, the benchmark was raised. So TCS did see favorable numbers coming in. Going forward, yes, I agree. We should have good numbers from TCS, HCLT, and Wipro also.
What's your top three slot when it comes to IT names?
Well, Infi has been one stock in our portfolio where we've had an overweight, and the stock has been down 6% YTD. At this point, we don't see much upside, downside going forward. So Infi will remain our top pick. TCS will bring up the second point, and Wipro third. HCLT has had a great year over the last 12 months or so. We believe one should book profits at this point.
Okay. Let's move away from IT because we've only discussed IT stocks in last 24 hours. Let's talk about banks. Somewhere, Titankar, do you think we are underestimating the macro problems? Inflation is still very sticky. There is no evidence that economy has turned around. IIP data is still contracting. Do you think one is better off giving banks in general a big skip, be it private or PSU?
Well, one would do that, but only at the risk of underperforming the benchmark substantially. And most domestic fund managers don't want to see that happening over a longish period of time because, your redemptions essentially start moving up. So, while one would tend to agree from a macro perspective, shun banks, but this is not something one can do, especially given the high volatility, given the massive beta that PSU banks carry. Most of them are trading at trading below book levels, even adjusted book levels. So the way we play our portfolio is we have a underweight on financials, that's for sure, and we have maintained that underweight. But what we like is we like private banks playing into this particular rally. HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank are stocks that we like. Amongst the smaller ones, Yes Bank is a stock that we like. Amongst PSU banks, we stick with SBI, and not at these levels, at 2000 odd levels or near 2000 levels, there is not much upside on SBI also at this point. So I think it would be safe to say that the top gains in the PSU space have been made. Stocks are up decently in the year-to-date rally, and one would basically get off the trading bets right now. But overall, we maintain our caution on a weak macro, we believe credit growth is likely to come down in FY15 from the 15% odd levels that we saw in FY14 to probably around 11, about 12 to 13% at max in FY15. We believe bank asset quality issues are likely to remain for now. You will see how restructuring basically zooms up in the fourth quarter numbers. The fact that most of this is already known by the street does not take anything away that banks are likely to have a fairly weak FY15 going forward. We've already seen how yields are, at 9% odd levels, and the central bank in its credit policy, while it did not raise the policy rate, it did make cost of funds slightly more expensive, marginally more expensive. And the way inflation has turned around at this point, one does not see closure in the near term at all. We, from a policy rate perspective, expect the repo to be cut probably once, if at all, in this particular fiscal, and not before September. So for banks, other than valuation, other than a belief that things will turn around very quickly, which we do not believe will happen, there is no earnings upside really at this point.
Tirthankar, you're of the view that, the equity markets are going to move in tandem with what is happening with the currency universe. The currency of late has weakened somewhat. Do you think the currency, A, will weaken further, and B, would the equities then follow suit?
See, on the currency, it's a hard call. Our near to medium term range is 58 to 62, and we see no reason in changing that. What is positive for the currency is that the FY14 current account deficit, for all practical purposes, will now be around 2%. What's also interesting is that the FY15 current account deficit might remain around those levels, around just about 2% or slightly even lower. So for the currency, downside is limited, other than, there are significant global macro downside, which essentially, probably will translate into heavy capital outflows. Ceteris paribus, we believe that the rupee should trade in the 58 to 62 band. On the negative side, we do not believe the currency will significantly appreciate from current levels. The central bank's reserves, while the governor says, are fairly comfortable at roughly $300 odd billion, and there is no way clearly of saying how much reserves do we need. We believe that FY14 was 1 year where, probably the third time in the last 20 years we saw import growth being negative. We don't see that scenario panning out in FY15, and we'll probably see a big jump in FY16 as import growth comes back in tandem with global, the domestic macro growth scenario, which means the currency will have downside, which also means that for the central bank, reserves accretion will be a key priority, even if it's at the cost of a depreciating currency. So we believe that the rupee will not significantly appreciate from current levels. We believe that the rupee will be range bound. 58 to 62 is where we believe the currency would be.
So what's your year-end target for the Nifty then?
Okay, we began the year expecting an 8% jump up on the Nifty. We've already probably seen that happening. We see the markets going up probably 1 or 2 more percent in this rally. Like I said, the majority of the money has been probably already made, barring a significant, upward swing in the macro, which we don't see likely. So, we will probably see the year, end the year with Nifty around 7,000 or so.
But Tirthankar, some would argue that, look, big money is not being made. Nifty is up 8%, but big deal about it, because what we've done on the Nifty this year is in line with other emerging markets. So the big upside for the market will only come after 16th of May.
I don't know if the market is waiting for the 16th of May. I believe that most of the fund managers we speak to, there's a very clear understanding that we are going to have a change of guard at the center, and the market is factoring that in, be it domestic fund managers or foreign institutional investors, be it mutual funds, be it insurance. I think there's a fair amount of upside built up into the markets, judging that there will be a change of guard. If anything, one could see significant downside if such a scenario does not pan out. So in terms of big gains to be made, yes, let's see the government come in, let's see them, push their first budget. From a manifesto perspective, I didn't see much change, from what the UPA will has been doing in terms of policy. In terms of not these, direct I'm not comparing the Congress and BJP manifestos, but if you look at the policies that BJP is looking at, one will still look for major changes happening. So I think that there's a lot of expectation being built in, and those expectations are not waiting for 16 May really.
Reliance meantime has snapped its 2-day fall and it's seeing a good price volume breakout as well built in. Tirthankar, the other space that I want to talk about is industrials, because that as well of late has sort of been beneficiary to this tactical shift that we've seen towards cyclicals. What is it that you're liking from that pocket?
See, we have been positive on capital goods. We've been, we like L&T, but not at these levels. The stock is already up about 20% this year. It's probably the top performer in the Nifty basket, and we believe again most of the gains have been made here. Beyond current levels, one would have to see earnings upgrades, because valuation upsides will basically move in tandem with the markets. So if there is what I'm trying to say is that if there are significant flows coming in, we don't think that's likely, then L&T should move up and L&T will be a leader. But that's not saying anything out of the ordinary. Importantly, one would expect earnings upgrades to, take the stock up going forward. What we like other than L&T in this space is Crompton Greaves. The stock has had a good run so far, and recent positive news about Hitachi coming and taking over the promoter's stake, 43% is definitely good news as our analysts see it. And we like Cummins also in this space. So, we have been selective on capital goods, in this particular rally. What we are distinctly uncomfortable with, even at current levels, are infra names. Many of them have done very well, but we believe that, other than valuation upsides, we don't see earnings really moving up at this point.
So, for the moment, is it an absolute no-no to names like Adani Ports, Gujarat Pipavav, GMR, GVK?
From a model portfolio perspective, yes, they remain no-no for now.
So at Religare, how are you differentiating? If your call is that buy into IT, buy into private banks, you like names like Cummins and L&T, some would argue that then your thoughts are pretty much in line with the consensus with other brokerages also. So what is your big idea? What is your differentiating idea?
We've had an IT pharma overweight and a financials underweight for at least since May or June of last year. So we have not changed that particular tack. If anything, we have raised our IT overweight and pharma overweight towards the end of the year. And despite having taken pain, I mentioned earlier on Infosys, the stock is our top weight, and we've lost about 6% there. We remain focused on IT and pharma. Despite this rally, we remain negative on PSU banks despite this rally. So I think that is a differentiating factor. We've heard quite a lot of houses talking about adding far more beta at this point. We've been cautious that the beta that we are proposing to add needs to be quality. We have lost out on many of the the less low quality or higher beta stocks having done fairly well, but we are ready to take that pain. So from a model portfolio perspective, our performance is roughly tracking Nifty right now and marginally higher than the MSCI India by about 2% on a year-to-date basis. And we do not see, major shifts other than tweaks in our sectoral, in our stock stance. No change in our sector stance really.
Okay, just marginally in the green now for the Nifty, and the broader markets are the ones which are picking up. Adani Enterprises, Ports, Crompton Greaves, Jubilant Foodworks, Petronet, and now Bata has given you a good price and volume breakout. It's holding up by about 1.5%, gaining for a second day on the trot. Tirthankar, you're of the belief that Q4 isn't going to be, as great as what we saw in Q3, and more importantly, you believe that the maximum amount of earnings are going to be generated from the telecom sector. Is there still opportunity to buy into any of the telecom names?
Well, telecom numbers are likely to be good this time. They were good in third quarter as well. I think our analyst believes that the good run in telecom has been made right now. We don't think we'll be buyers into telecom at this point. From a model portfolio perspective, we remain neutral on the space, really.
Any reason why you're neutral on the space? Because some would argue that, look, whatever had to go wrong for telecom has already gone wrong. Now competition is not intensifying, competition is contracting, pricing power is coming back, and at least for the moment it appears that the policy regime is finally, and thankfully is the word, is in place.
Well, yes, but let's look at the positive and the negative sides even now. If the rupee does appreciate, a stock like Bharti will definitely gain because of its very big, dollar debt sitting on its balance sheet. That's definitely a positive. So, we believe that rupee will remain stable over FY15, given my point about the current account deficit for FY15 also to be around 2% or so. From a top-down perspective, we see things to be fairly okay for Bharti. Obviously, on the regulatory side also, things are thankfully very nice. What we do not see right now is capex intensities. They are not fairly